Good morning, students. Screen is visible. Okay, in the last class, we discussed about timber, right? Advantages of timber, how you can procure the timber in India. There were some technical terms, classification of timber, then different methods of sawing in timber. We will also we discuss about methods of seasoning of timbers, right? So today we'll discuss about the defects in timbers. Just recall all this. Prevention of timber, that will be our today's topic. Okay, I'll take class till 10:15. So after that you join that link of next class. Okay, how many students? So in prevention of timber, these are the requirements of good preservative. Okay, we studied about this, right? Types of preservatives also we have studied. Just recall what was the last I think we were about to discuss the defects. Surface application, soaking treatment, rotary process we have discussed. Okay. Characteristics of for suitability of timber. So these should be the characteristics. It should have a good strength. It should be very tough. It should have some elasticity, resistance to shear, hardness, fire resistance, retention of shape, durability, and workability. So these are the characteristics a good timber should have. Okay. Next, we have these are the requirements of good timber. It should have a uniform color and regular annular rings. It should be from the heart of a sound tree and have straight fibers. It should have bright appearance with a silky luster when planed. It should be sweet to smell when freshly cut. So there is a smell when you cut a fresh tree. So if the rotten smell comes, that means means that tree has decayed, right? Next. It should be sonorous. It should create some sound when you cut. It should be well seasoned. And when cut in a saw, the surface should not clog the teeth of the saw. It should be free from natural defects. Should not be affected by wood rotting, fungi, or any other insects. Should have firm adhesions of fibers and compact medullary rays. It should be hard enough, durable, tough, and elastic. Defects in timber. So there are some natural defects which develop during the growth of tree, and some defects occurring after a tree is felled. Okay, natural defect when it starts growing, and some defects when after it fell, then also it may have some defects. So these are the natural defects: shakes, ring dull, knots, twisted fibers, upsets, burls, and pores grain. So these are the natural defects which we'll discuss one by one. So shakes is the partial or complete separation between adjoining layers of tissue. So if the all the tissues like hardwood, sapwood, cambium layer, all the layers in your wood start separating, then it is known as shakes. Let me show. Let me see. So this is the shakes. There is a difference. You must, if you zoom this picture, if you see there is a gap, separation of each layer. This is the shake. This is the shake. These are the shakes. Okay, the separation of layer. So due to this, it lowers the resistance to shear. If shake defects are there, then it will lead to lower the resistance of shear of the timber, commonly found in logs which are allowed to stand even after attaining maturity. It is common. It generally happens to common logs which are allowed to stand even after attaining maturity. So suppose once your tree has matured, if it is still standing, so in those trees, this type of defect can be easily attacked. Indicate old age. So shakes also indicate that your tree has old. Your tree has become old. Caused due to shrinkage of wood. So there may be some shrinkage of wood due to weather conditions. Okay, due to some weather condition, there may be some shrinkage. So if it shrinks, so there may be some shakes in the timber. Okay. Now there are types of shakes: heart shakes and star shakes, and we have radial shakes, and the third is cup shakes or ring shakes. So shakes we have three types: heart shakes and star shakes. It's radial ruptures in annular rings or splits radiating from the heart and extending towards the sapwood are called heart shakes. So the when let me show radial rings. So when from heart to the sapwood, this is the heart shake, you can say. When it comes from this soft part to the hard part. Okay. The shake occurring at near the pith and giving the appearance of a star at the end is called star shake. These shakes are caused by the quick drying of the central part of the tree. Radial shakes, the radial splits which extend from the bark towards the center. So when from bark to the towards the center, if you see some separation or separations or in this annular rings, if you see from bark to the, it is coming from bark towards the center, then it will be your radial shear. These are caused when the outer tissue dry faster than the inner ones. So your heart shakes occurs when the inner part inner part has become quick dry. Okay, quick drying of the central part. But the radial shakes when the outer tissues dry faster than the inner ones. Then it starts shaking towards the center part. Now the cup or ring shakes, the opening along the growth rings are called shakes or ring shakes. Caused due to sudden increase of moisture supplied by the root and then quick drying. Then check. Now there is a difference. Splits and check. This is the split and this is the check. It extends through full width of timber. So splits generally it extends through the whole width of the timber, but the checks it's shallow. It do not extend through timber. It can be caused by aggressive drying, overstressing. It can be caused by normal drying and weathering. It can be unsightly. It can normally be filled. It can cause reduction in strength, and it will have a little effect on strength. These are checking. These are the checking. A check is a long crack that appears as the sapwood of a timber shrinks around the heartwood over time. Now ring dull, curved swelling. This is the curved swelling. If you see the figure, let me zoom a bit. This is the curved swelling resulted from the growth of sapwood layers on bone left by falling or cut of branch in an irregular manner. Caused because the new growth does not unite properly with the old wood and leaves a cavity where its decaying action may set in. This is the ring gull. Next, knots. So these kind of knots you must have seen in all those plywoods you generally use for shuttering and all. So the dark hard pieces indicate places from where branches have been cut off. When the knot is free from decay and is firmly intact, it's called live knot or sound knot. Knot which is not firm is called dead knot or loose knot. This is in the center, margin, edge, and areas. Twisted fibers. The defect due to the fibers of tree which get twisted when young by the force of wind is called twisted fibers. Upsets. The defects caused by crushing or by injury in wood fibers. Burr or you can say excrescence. The growth of a large excrescence bulge which is formed on the trunk or the branch of a tree due to certain injury inflicted when the tree is young is called burl. Next, coarse grains. The widening of annual rings due to rapid growth of certain tree is called coarse grain. So when your rings get widens along the growth of the tree is known as the defect. That is also a kind of defect which is known as coarse grains. And there is a term want and wane. These are the differences given. Mechanical damage knotting of corner. Pieces is cut from outer part of tree so that the part of corner is missing. This one unsightly of an exposed corner can have rustic appearance. If you see the figure, it has a rustic appearance. Discontinuity of grain can affect strength, rarely affects bending strength, make effect bearing. And it can have vein or timber on timber cut from anywhere in tree, and it shows the piece contents of sapwood. This is a bark, this is a gum veins. This is also a kind of defects. Now, defects occurring after the trees fell. So, till now we discussed all the natural defects: bark, gum veins, want vein, burl, coarse grain, twisted fiber, upsets. These are different knots: ring dull, checking, splits and checks, and shake. So, these are all the natural defects which used to occur in the tree due to various reasons as discussed in the this PDF. Now, these are the defects occurring after the trees fell. So, after when the trees fell, after its maturity or when you cut, so these are the defects it can occur on the timber. Case hardening, honeycombing, collapse, foxiness, twistiness, and bowling. So what is case hardening? During kiln seasoning, the outer side of timber gets hard while the inner core remains still wet due to rapid surface drying. So we know kiln seasoning or artificial seasoning, we used to dry the timber, right? So in that what happens, as this is a fast process, sometimes your outer parts gets dried but the inner parts still remains undried. Okay, due to that this kind of defect can happen which is known as case hardening. Next, honeycombing. This defect is due to the separation of tissue in the interior of timber due to drying stresses caused by incorrect clean seasoning as the interior wood dries earlier than the external surface. So what happened? Honeycombing is that when you do artificial seasoning, there may be some separation of tissue. One was shakes was natural separation of tissue. Okay, this one is due to artificial seasoning. When you so honeycombing is a defect which arises due to artificial seasoning in the cling. What happens? The interior of timber it gets drying stresses caused by incorrect cleaning season. Okay, when the process of clean seasoning is incorrect, your interior part of the wood gets dried, but the outer parts doesn't get dried. Okay, means that means I want to say that your interior part, due to incorrect clean seasoning, the interior part of the tree gets dried earlier than the outer part. Collapse. This defect is due to corrugated appearance of timber caused due to excessive and uneven shrinkage during drying. So this may be due to your the look of the timber, which may be caused uneven or excessive shrinkage during drying. So when you dry, some tree may get shrink. Okay, so that due to that shrink, there may be some changes in the appearance of timber, which is known as collapse. Foxiness. This defect is due to the yellowish or reddish stains caused by over maturity and lack of ventilation during storage. Ventilation, so when you store the timbers in a you can say you make a you have make a storage chamber and you are storing the all the timbers there, so you have to provide some ventilation also. Okay, if it doesn't get air, then it may start decaying. Okay, so and it may get some yellowish or reddish stains, that is called as foxiness. Okay, and it can also be caused due to over maturity. When the tree is over matured and that is not fell down, then there may be some yellowish or reddish stain. Now disease in timber. So these are some disease are there in timber: dry rot, wet rot, and insects. Just give me a minute. So these are the diseases in timber: dry rot, wet rot, and insects. Dry rot, the turning of timber tissues to almost dry powder by fungi, is called dry rot. So when the tissues fungi has attacked in such a way that when you can press within your fingers, that if you take a small piece of timber, if you press within your fingers, it will get completely dry powder. Okay, so this is called as this, which is due to a fungi which can be attacked by fungi, is known as dry rot. Okay, suppose you can take an example. If you keep a furniture for very long time, means the furniture is very old, it starts giving some powdery. Okay, so that is in SMS it is called bhun. I don't know in other language what it is called. So you will get some powdery form, so that is a dry rot. Okay, example of mushroom, spongy plant. The fungus feed upon the wood and eats the wood tissue, thus penetrating the wood fiber from all direction. I hope you understood the dry example of dry root. You must have seen in that the old furniture used to if from old furniture some powders used to get we used to get some powders in the surface in your floors. You go to your old grandma's home or somewhere, old furniture generally, you'll get these kind of powdery. So that is dry rot. So we have prevention also for this kind of disease. Well seasoned timber should be used. So that's why when you go for furniture or door or window, you go for very hardwood, right? Hardwood and well seasoned. Like I think there are different types of trees. I forgot the name. Sal and teak, like that. Those trees you generally use for your furnitures, doors, and windows. So basically, we can prevent if it is well seasoned, completely dried. Timber should be used where there is free circulation and excess of air. Remedy, these are the prevention. Then we can have remedy also if it get attacked by the dry roads. If it attacked by fungi, the timber should be painted with a solution of copper sulfate. The high temperature of seasoning of cleaning helps in killing the fungi. So these are some remedies to eradicate the dry rot issue disease. These are the examples. See, the fungi has evolved in this part. Now, wet rot. The disintegration of tissue of timber due to alternate wetting and drying is called wet rot. The attacks takes place through the wounds in bark by the excess of water. So sometimes, if you see some windows or doors, it has a surplus amount due to rain or air. Sometimes you can take an example of door of our bathroom usually, right. It experience water, I think most of the time. So due to that, if it then don't get, if it doesn't have any sunlight on that, it won't dry. Sometimes it gets little dry, then again we use the bathroom. Suppose I'm just giving an example. So it is an exposure of water, water for a long time, right. So that for due to that, there may be some generation of fungi, green fungi, you may have seen somewhere, or there will be a green fungi over there. If the timber is not good, and it can get attacked with fungi, or fungi can attack it. Okay, so due to that, we have some prevention. All timbers for exterior or underground work should be first properly seasoned and then coated with tar to keep out the dampness. So if you cover it with some paint or tar, so it won't affect the your as we due to corrosion. What we do to in so that our steel doesn't get corroded, we used to paint it, right. So that also timber also need a coating. If you do a coating, then it won't affect the water won't come to its surface. So you are prevent just like you are giving a raincoat to a timber. Next remedy, the best remedy for treating wet rot is by using a suitable preservative. So we have discussed some preservative based on waterborne preservatives. Yes, you can use waterborne preservative for its remedy. Okay, these are some examples. Picture is not clear, you just Google it, you will get a lot of pictures. Now insects, certain insects such as termites larva causes decay of timber. They build up mud tunnels to keep their movements covered and continue their activity of eating. Okay, okay, termites. Yeah, termites is the good term for all the yeah, termites. They build up mud tunnels to keep their movements covered and continue their activity of eating into the wood under the surface. So for this, you have prevention, damp-proof condition, cement mortar in joints, well-seasoned wood, and remedy is that suitable preservative, providing copper bottom to wood which comes in contact with water. Common market forms of timber. Yes, these are the common market forms. This is usually available for door, windows, and furniture and all. Log, deal, dealwood, bulk, bowl, bolt, billet, batten, plank, board, cant, strip, sleeper, slat, scanting, post, pole, Haven timber, dealwood, and deal. So these are some common market forms of timber. Some common wood products. So these are some wood products. Veneer. It refers to thin slice of wood, usually thinner than 3 mm or 1 by 8 inch. They are typically glued onto core panels, typically wood, particle board, or medium density fireboard, to produce flat panels such as doors, tops, and panels for cabinets, parquet floors, and parts of furniture. So this is the from wood or from timber. You can get a veneer as a byproduct, which is a thin slice of wood, and you can use it in giving a surface in the doors, windows, not windows, doors. Then some you can use for some panels also. So this is some products of timber. Plywood. Plywood is also an example. It is a type of engineering wood made from thin sheets of wood called piles or wood veneers. The layers are glued together so that adjacent piles have their grain at right angle to each other for greater strength. Plywood is specified by both faces, two letters, the first being the face veneer quality and the second the back veneer quality. So veneer, these veneers, thin slice of wood used to get these. If we give a layer of veneer sheets, it will give rise to a new product which is plywood. Let me share once more PDF. These are the different uses of timber in our day-to-day life. You can identify the timber. These are the moisture of timber, moisture content, equilibrium moisture content, fiber saturation point, seasoning. As we discussed, these are the different seasoning: natural, artificial, or there one more water seasoning. Natural, you just keep a stack of logs into a storage room or some place, and the naturally it dries. In artificial, we have clean, chemical, and electric. Clean seasoning, in the same way we used to stack the logs, and we used to keep it in a chamber. Okay, this is quick process. In chemical seasoning, carbon dioxide, ammonium carbonate, or urea are used as agents for seasoning. Those are applied in dry state. The interstate surface of the inter surface of timber dries first, then outer side, and this takes 30 to 40 days. Chemical seasoning. So the fastest or the quick process is clean seasoning. Chemical seasoning takes 30 to 40 days. Next one has electric seasoning. In this method, electric current is passed through the timber logs. The time required for this seasoning is 5 to 8 hours, but it is will be a time consuming because you have to place one stick. It is a bit time consuming. Then one is water seasoning. The timber logs are kept immersed whole in the flowing water. The sap present in timber is washed away. After that, logs are taken out from water and are kept in open air. So water present in timber would be dried by air. The time required for this type of seasoning is 2 to 4 weeks. So first what they do, they keep the logs in a water. They immerse the logs in a water. When the sap present in the timber is washed away with that water, then they take out the timber and keep it in the open air to let it dry by its own, and it takes 2 to 4 weeks. These are the some advantage. It reduces the whole weight, strong, and it makes it strong and durable. Resistance to decay and rot, takes high polish, easier to work with, and last longer. Defects in the internal defects and some external defects. Internal defects you can take that the natural defects due to factors affecting the growing tissue or the tree, and external effects you can take due to external agents or subsequent treatment of timber. The defects occur in timber are grouped as follows: due to conversion, if you convert from one to another; due to fungi, insect, natural forces, or due to seasoning. Due to conversion, during the process of converting timber to the commercial form, the following defects can occur: chip mark, diagonal grain, torn grain, and vein. So these are the some defects due to when you convert timber to some commercial product. I'll share this PPT. Just read it once. If you don't understand, then we'll discuss in next class. Okay. Now, due to fungi, fungi attack timber only when the following two conditions are satisfied simultaneously. Yeah, okay, so fungi reacts when moisture content of, as we discussed in the first class, that the moisture content in the timber should be range between 10 to 20%. Okay, but if the moisture content in the timber is more than 20%, so fungi will attack. and there is a presence of air and warmth for the growth of fungi. So these are the reasons of fungi attack on timber. Following defects are caused in timber by fungi: blue stain, brown rot, dry rot, hard rot, sap strain, wet rot, white rot. So these are the different defects due to fungi. Due to insects which are usually responsible for the decay of timber. So these are the some insects: beetles, marine borers, and termites. Natural forces causes abnormal growth and rupture of tissues. So in the natural due to defects due to natural forces, these are some defects. Just study it once. Now defects due to seizing is collapse, radial shakes, splits, warp, checks, as discussed in the last PDF, knots, shakes. This is a star shake. It making it a star like structure, like so. This is a star shake. Objectives of preservation of timber. So these are the objectives. It if we use to increase the life of a timber, to make the timber structure durable. These are some timber preservatives. These are some industrial timber: veneers, plywood, fireboards, impreg timbers, compressed timbers, blockwood, and lamin board. So these are the different industrial timber. We convert the wood to in these industrial products for our purposes. We directly we don't use directly wood in our homes, right? So we use the converted form of timber in our day-to-day life or in construction projects. Okay, till here the rest we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, till here it will be enough for today. In the next class we'll discuss the industrial timber one by one. Any doubt? Okay, if you don't have any doubt, you can write your roll number and can leave the meeting. Those who have wrote their roll number, they can leave. Hope everyone wrote their roll number. Anyone left? Abrisha, Licha, Rohini.